The sewing machines are busy, churning out lingerie samples to fill this textile exporter's $64 million worth of orders expected in the new year, 15% up on this year's number. You wouldn't think there are problems, but there are. Raw materials prices are rising, exchange rates are undergoing big changes, and there's a labor shortage. This will all eat up 40% of the company's original net profit estimates for next year. Executives say the central bank's recent cut in the reserve requirement ratio for commercial banks, which takes effect today, has come just in time.
The new policy may help us get easier access to loans, so that we can try things we might never have been able to do in the past, like factory expansion and buying new machines. With the loans, we can make a long-term plan for our company's development in the following 3 to 5 years.
A total of 1.2 trillion yuan in long-term funding will be released by the cutting reserve requirements, and is a promising signal for the commercial banks as well. It will help lower their funding costs by around 15 billion yuan a year.
The reserve requirement ratio reduction means a release of middle and long-term capital, which can help replace the medium-term lending facility the banks now use. This will improve the capital structure at the commercial banks. It's released at low cost or even none at all, which makes it a good replacement for the higher cost capital from the medium-term facility.
Also starting today, the central bank is raising the reserve requirement ratio for foreign currency deposits by 2 percentage points from the previous 7% to 9%. That should help curb the continuous appreciation of renminbi against US dollars. And the government is now calling for more efforts to support small and medium-sized enterprises. At a symposium last month, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang called for targeted measures to strengthen economic adjustments to alleviate the pressure transmitted downstream to SMEs by rising commodity prices. The PBOC has already said that banks are to use part of the release funds from the reserve ratio cut to repay their maturing medium-term lending facility loans, while using the rest to replenish the long-term funds they use for market loans, especially for small firms. That can have an immediate effect on borrowers, especially considering recent rises in China's producer prices.
The PPIs continue to rise, which has caused increasing operational pressure for companies, especially rising costs. There is a need for financial institutions to provide targeted services, especially low-cost capital support, to help alleviate the burden. Since the third quarter, a series of macro statistics has indicated that China's economy is under some pressure, so the new changes are needed for cross-cyclical adjustments. China's monetary policies show that the country will not follow the tightened policies in Europe and the U.S. China focuses on its own economic pattern.
The central bank has also announced a cut of 25 basis points in the rate of re-lending to support the rural sector and small firms. More money in the market for small companies in trouble. It all adds up to the key focus outlined at the National Leadership's Economic Conference last Friday. Economic stability will be the top priority for China's policymakers next year.